All right, let's see if anybody joins. Says there's 3 people watching. Let me know who you guys are. Drop some comments, guys, so I know who's here. Oh, down to one. I think the one is me. Let's send some links out. What's up, Rail 9222? It's just you and I for right now, buddy. I'm gonna send some links out. This was a spur of the moment deal. So let's see if anybody else jumps on with us. What you been up to, Rail? What's up, Steve?
Whoa, are we alive?
We are.
Oh, dude, I didn't even know. I would just clicked on. I guess I'm joining the stream.
All right. Wow, damn. Yeah, no, I finished cleaning up some stuff. I did some welding for the first time in over a year in the garage, and I just ain't ready to go to bed. So I figured I'd send the link out, see who may pop up, and see who may pop in the chat.
Well, I just got in bed. I was doing some stuff, and yeah, I was just getting ready to chill out tonight, turn on a movie, and snooze. And then I seen that message pop, and I accidentally clicked on it through my. I didn't accidentally. I clicked on it. Thought maybe there was a upcoming stream or something. And I kind of came in. I was like, oh, I guess we're gonna jump right in and see what happens.
Yeah,
So here we are.
I
What the
mean,
hell?
you're more than welcome to stay as long as you want, or
Yeah, yeah.
do it.
No, I'm here now, so I guess It's only 10:30. For me,
Mhm.
later for you. So
What's
not
up,
bad.
Brady?
I've had a busy day.
Yeah, so have I. I got nothing accomplished I wanted to do.
Oh no,
No,
that's never good. It's
no.
gonna be the
My
weather's
phone.
getting a little bit warmer.
Yeah, it
Oh,
dropped down. It rained today, so it dropped down to like 55 here. So
oh
it was
shoot. Sorry,
nasty.
I got somebody calling me. I got to take this. I'll come back. I'll jump back in after I'm done.
Okay, no worries, man. What you been up to, Brizzy? Whoa. Damn dogs are like vultures. We probably won't. Probably won't stay on very long. Snowstorm today. Damn. What's up, Adam? Adam, I'm gonna send you the link in the email. If I can remember how. Adam, I just sent you an email with the link as well, boy. So just a random spur of the moment thing, guys. Snow. Damn. Yeah, it was raining and nasty, so I didn't get anything done that I wanted to today. But there's always tomorrow. Got a little bit of welding done tonight. First time in over a year. So that was pretty fun. Did some traps for a buddy of mine. He bought them and they sent the wrong style, and they sent a plate to go over the bottom to where he can hook like a snatch chain to it, so they would be legal for the state of North Carolina. And he asked me to weld them on for him, and I told him I sure did. It's the Harbor Freight Titanium Flux 125. Nothing fancy, but for go-karts and mini bikes, it works pretty good. Same thing for this. I mean, once I'm done with welding school, it's not something I'll be taking out on job sites or anything like that. But, for my applications right now, it works good. But once I get into welding school in August, I'm going to talk with the instructors and stuff and see what's a good setup for around this area. See if some of our regulars pop in. Smaller than those. Yeah, I mean, I've been impressed with it. The first time I hooked it up, I didn't know what a duty cycle was. So I kind of halfway burned it up. So now it won't shut off for the duty cycle. I've got to actually physically unplug it. But I posted a couple of pictures up on Instagram for it. So, but, I enjoy it. And it's good practice, I guess. I don't know. What's up, Theo?
How we doing?
Not too bad. Just not ready for bed. And I finished up with the stuff I was doing in the garage. And I initially thought it was Tuesday, and I thought Ed, the old tech guy, was going live. And I was sitting out here with like a bag of chips and a soda and stuff, getting ready for it. And when I messaged him, he's like, "Bro, it's Monday night again." No, I do that quite a bit. My days run together.
Oh, no different here. So it's all good. It happens.
Yep, so I figured I'd send the link out and maybe get a few people to come up and a few people in the chat and hang out till everybody gets bored, and then we all go our way.
Yeah. Well, you got some people hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
What did I just see? Did you do some welding?
I did.
How did that go?
So this is only like the 5th time I've ever actually welded anything. It's been over a year since I did it, so I think it turned out pretty good. And I threw them around on the concrete floor and nothing broke off, so I think it's going to hold just fine.
Well, that's always a good start.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not sure, always weld a little too hot. At least I like to weld hot. Let me put it that way. So.
No, grab one for you to look at. So in North Carolina, my buddy's going to start trapping some of the raccoons on the hunting club because there's probably about 200 of them. What's up, Matt? So that's what the bottom initially looks like.
Okay.
And it's got to have this little thing on it that he can run. Come on, guys, get out of here. That he can run
A chain.
like a chain. Yep, a chain too. So, I mean, not terrible.
No, not bad at all.
You know, I mean, if it was at an actual welding shop, I would expect them to grind that down, make it smooth and clean out. But, you know, Matt, I'm going to send you the link too in case you got a few minutes, man. Excuse me. So, I mean, that's all I was doing. And like I said, once I got everything cleaned up, I just ain't ready for bed, man. I'm a night person. Did you freeze up, Theo? I think so. Where's your girl? For heavier work, stick welding. So my oldest stepson, Damien, he loves to stick weld. He took that in the high school class in part of the marine vocational class. So they work on like outboard engines and stuff like that, and they do welding in it. And he likes to do the stick welding at them. But not else much going on. What's up, Matt?
What's up, man?
Not too much. Just finishing up some stuff in the garage.
Yeah, I'm watching the Hurricanes squander a lead. And I'm trying to get a video back up or upload a video tonight.
Was that me or?
Yeah, I think it was you, Theo.
Okay.
It's up to you, go. Absolutely, Adam. No, I was just showing off some of the welding that I was doing earlier, Matt.
Yeah, you never messaged me back about that.
Well, so I was gonna do the stuff over at Dad's house, but with all the weather and stuff, they ended up doing something different, and then
I got you.
I was supposed to do baseball practice with the kids earlier in the day at the high school, but it got postponed and pushed out to later on. So I didn't end up doing anything. And this was a 100% spur of the moment thing.
Well, depending on the time you started, like I can't even start doing anything until after like 8:00.
Okay. Yeah, it'll probably be. So I'm kind of deciding on if I want to start going live on Mondays or Wednesdays. I got to kind of get through baseball season just a little bit because the game throughout the week too. But I'm gonna end up start doing it one of the two nights.
I'm debating cutting my lives back, like do maybe a bi-weekly one or something like that. I don't know. I don't like getting in there. I just feel like I'm rambling about nothing.
Yep, same here.
If there's actual change, that's something, but you know.
But no, I was talking to my dad. He said if you ever have something going on that you need a lift, a couple days notice, you're more than welcome to come over and put the Mustang on it.
Oh, I appreciate that, man.
So he's a retired Marine too, so he's, you know, Retired from the Marine Corps, retired from the police department. He's bored.
I used the base lift a few weeks ago, and before I went to Ponies and Smokies, and it was a good deal right there.
Yeah, I used to live in the auto hobby shop when I was a kid in Okinawa.
Yeah, well, I wish. See, I'm gonna be doing my header soon, and I'll probably do it on base potentially, but I need to guarantee that I'm gonna be able to drive it out of there, drive it home. So
Yeah.
I gotta have all the parts.
Yeah. Theo, have you ever met Matt before?
We talked about that.
Yeah, maybe once or twice, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, he's a local YouTuber to me here in Jacksonville. One of these days we'll actually meet up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen him on. I think it was with Wasted, wasn't it?
Yep.
You been on?
Yep. I need to get some.
Thank you, Tarek. You didn't have to do that, man.
I've been looking on Marketplace, man. I keep seeing some deals on some go-karts locally, and then I have to keep telling myself I've got no room for it. I literally have no physical space to put it.
Yep, same here. There was one I found, it was for free, and I don't even have room in the storage unit for it, so I had to pass on it.
Well, I never seen a free one. If I saw a free one, I'd figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, finally, I got the front suspension pulled off from that Eclipse today.
Okay.
So tomorrow we'll be able to bleed the brakes out. That way we can finish taking all the rotors and stuff off to get the axle out. I didn't realize I had to take those off until I got into it. So tomorrow we'll get that stuff done. And then hopefully tomorrow afternoon or so we could get that motor pulled out to get the new one put in.
Yeah, I did one of the tie rods on my Fox body yesterday. I should have replaced them both. I still might do it, but only one was completely failed when I tried to get in alignment. Yeah, so I took the car to the alignment shop, and the guy's like, "Hey, come here for a second." Grabs my wheel and just goes boom, 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 boom. And I was like, "Holy crap. I can't believe I was driving around on that."
Where'd you take it to?
So honestly, I'm real big on word of mouth. The Firestone on Gum Branch, there's a guy who works there named Matt, and my buddy was getting his really nice GT done there, and I told him like, hey, I was just talking to him. I was like, I need alignment pretty bad. And my boss, because I was wearing the tires out raw badly, and he's like, yeah, this guy will take care of you, man. He has good rims. He's like, they won't jack up your rims or anything, and they did a good job. So went back there for my Fox body, and yeah, he showed me it was wrong. Gave me no charge. He's like, you gonna fix it yourself? I'm like, yep. And he said no charge. Gave me my keys, and out I went. I'll be back.
Okay. Yeah, I used to go when I had my Chevy 3500. I used to take it to bare wheel alignment, but I think that guy's more for bigger trucks than he is for like sports cars and stuff.
Yeah, not everybody can handle a bigger truck when it comes to alignments.
And he still does it the old way. He doesn't have a lot of the new fancy machines and stuff. He's an old. I think he's probably in his late 60s, early 70s now, and he's still doing it.
I'll tell you what I've been looking at heavy, Ken, is I've been looking at RVs. I really want an RV, but like I'm so close to getting out of the military or going to reserves that like I should probably wait until I have a guaranteed job on the outside.
What are you gonna do when you get out?
I'd like to get into like facilities engineering, plant management. So like large like hospitals running their engineering plants, like the emergency generators, stuff like that.
Yeah,
or any sort of large corporate facility. It doesn't matter. Any kind of plant management, I can do that. Or honestly, plan B, if I can, is get a GS gig locally. I'd like to stay here, but there's only so many options.
Yeah, and I tried doing that when I got out in 2012. I went through, so I did 8 years as an MP. Went through the entire hiring process. Was
Mhm.
supposed to get hired on as a shift lieutenant for the civilian MPs.
Yep.
Got all the way through. Was going to pick up my uniforms and sign my final contract, and they had a hiring freeze, and I couldn't get hired.
Oh, sequestration, whatever it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I kind of steered away from it then. Now, once I'm done with welding school, there's a guy that his son plays baseball with mine. He does travel welding, and I had no idea until we were talking the other night because he asked me if the sheriff's office allowed us to have beards now. I was like, no, I left there in November, and I was telling him what I was doing. He's like, well, when you're ready, let me know because we're always hiring people. And he said the base jobs pay really well.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, never mind. I'll talk about that with you if I want to meet you in person.
Sounds good.
I've got an opinion of people who come do work on base. Not a bad opinion, but I have a feeling there's just a way that those jobs are done to where they're magically a certain number every time.
Yeah. Just like with everything else, promotions, the whole 9 yards. There's backdoor deals being made.
Yeah. Yep. Well, honestly, what I'm hoping that will happen. I mean, not hoping. It'd be sweet. So my assistant, the guy who works under me, is a GS-12. I don't know if he's going to leave anytime soon, but I'm trying to convince my headquarters. So right now I'm technically what's called a learning site. And they're increasing it to a detachment. So I'm an 03 command right now, and they're bumping it up to an 04 command. They're going to increase the staff size even more. So right now I've got 52 people that work for me, but they're going to bump it up even larger, get a larger military detachment presence down here, and I'm trying to convince them because they're not squashing my job. My job stays. They're just adding an OIC. Right now I'm called a site director, so there'll be a site director and then there'll be an OIC who's in charge of him. And I'm trying to convince them to turn the site director job into a GS job.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm telling them for consistency, because you're always gonna have the MILDET rotating in and out, and then you can have that guy as the basically running the show, and the OIC just handle.
I think he froze up too. Maybe it is on my end.
No, it looks like he's frozen.
Yep. What you been working on in the shop there?
I bumped airplane mode.
Oh.
My laptop completely shut off everything Wi-Fi.
Oh, not a whole lot. Getting started on that Allison transmission here, so that'll be a big one.
Okay.
Got a couple customers' cars that got dropped off today, so need to get started on those. Mondays are a little slow here for myself. So. It's when my wife is off, so I like to take it easy. Our Sundays are Saturdays, and our Mondays are Mondays or Sundays, or however you want to put it. So.
Yeah, I've been there were random days throughout the week, or same with me. Especially on the old schedule I was on, I would have like a Wednesday, Thursday off in the middle of the week, and all my regular friends are working 9 to 5 jobs, and it's like, I ain't got nothing to do.
Oh, man, I'd be sleeping. Man, I tell you what, dude, I love my kids, but that baby, God, like I don't have to set an alarm clock. He wakes up the same time every morning, right before I'm supposed to get up. Like it's like so soul crushing. I should not set my alarm because he wakes up right before my alarm goes off, about 30 minutes before. So I feel like I'm losing drastic amount of sleep, even though it's just 30 minutes.
Is he on a regular schedule though?
Yeah, it's regular. It's regular. I mean, he goes to bed same time. He wakes up same time. It just happens to be 30 minutes before I want to get up.
Yeah.
That's better than an hour and a half.
Yeah, well, I mean, it varies. It's 30 minutes. It's an hour to 30 minutes. It depends. I mean, there's a little bit of room, but it's still pretty consistent. On the weekends, it really stinks. Ken, what's your last video you put up, man? I'm sorry if I haven't watched your stuff in a minute.
Yeah, so the last one I've made public was on the wheel dollies I bought from Harbor Freight.
Oh. I got to put some casters on a trailer of mine because I have like this trailer. It's actually, I think it's a Harbor Freight trailer that some Marine here locally was a tank driver, and he upgraded the steel to haul a Harley. And so it's pretty heavy, but the casters that were on it, I sat it up one time after I took my boys' cars out, and one of the freaking casters literally just like exploded. Like all the bearings came shooting out of it, and so I gotta go replace all those. So I'm gonna have to go to Harbor Freight and see what they got.
Yeah, no, it was just me setting those little wheel dollies up and then putting the Eclipse on it, and so we can roll it around to get it.
How are those wheel dollies? Are they like decent? They flex?
I'll be honest. So they hold 1,500 pounds a piece. For what you and I do, they're perfectly fine. For what Theo does, I would suggest him looking into something else, a little more durable and sturdy, long term. But for, like I said, what you and I do, perfectly fine.
I mean, were they easy to roll, the Eclipse, or no?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. We got it moving a little too fast. I thought we were going to hit the toolbox with it.
Yeah. Well, I've made a little more room in my garage. I sold some car parts today, so I've got that freaking. My garage is just packed right now. I've got the cars, the Power Wheels, got the motor in there. I've got the headers and the mid pipe for the Fox laying on my floor, and I had axle backs for the Boss that I took off laying on the floor. Had like no room to walk, so I finally sold the Boss axle backs. That's a little bit out of the way. But I need to. I'm really excited to get the actual exhaust on the Fox body. It's gonna be loud as hell and have a lot of drone, but who needs to hear?
Yeah.
I really want to get, man. I want an RV or I want a truck. I'm not sure which.
You want a tow behind camper or an actual RV that you can drive?
Well, if I ever had a truck, then I'd be fine with a tow behind. But an RV would also be sweet because what I would love to do is get an RV and get a car trailer and pull my Mustang around to various events, stay in a camper at a campsite. Mm-hmm. I love that kind of stuff when I was a kid, man. If I could bring in like stuff I did as a kid and stuff I've always wanted to do as a kid that I'm doing with my kids, that'd be awesome.
That's why I started doing stuff with mini bikes and go-karts, man. I always wanted them, but living in base housing, growing up, moving every 3 years,
yep,
I never was able to have one.
Yeah. Same. I mean, yeah, it's kind of along the same lines of what I'm doing. I really wish I could get a Power Wheel. I just don't know where I'd put it. I mean, not a Power Wheel, a go-kart. I just don't know where I'd put it. There's a guy who was selling a racing one locally, a kid's one for like $800. I thought about like seeing if I could talk him down a little bit.
Like one of the little shifter carts?
I guess so. I don't know how much shifting you actually do on those. I'm going to guess that it's like probably limited to like 45 or so. But my son was going to run one of those. He was going to do the autocross out at Cherry Point, and they had the kids event, and they canceled it. And the SCCA hasn't brought it back because of COVID. They don't have any safety rules for it or something like that. So it just sucks.
Yeah,
I haven't done any autocross because my son can't do it.
I know they race them every once in a while out at Coastal Plains, the drag strip. They've got a track out there they run them at.
Go-karts?
I'm pretty sure. Yep.
That's cool.
So one of these weekends we'll actually make it out there to check it out. I know every once in a while they have the 910 drag mini bike series. They go around to pretty much every racetrack within the 910 area code, and they set up drag races on the mini bikes and stuff.
I love going on the drag strip. My favorite's the 4-gear bangers, like the old school hot rods. I love that stuff. In fact, I haven't been there in a minute. I need to go back and do a test and tune.
You know, I've been here since 2008, and I've never once been out to that drag strip.
Really?
Yep.
Well, I only went because I had a friend who was racing, and so he invited me. You know, I took the boys to go watch him, and then finally took the boss out there to make some passes.
Thank you, Ed. You didn't have to do that, man. I appreciate it, though. Ed's a good dude. He's helped the channel out quite a bit. Have a lot of
There's a lot of good people out there, man.
Yeah. I have a lot of good conversations with him and Theo afterwards on the streams that people just don't realize. When the live stream ends after 2 hours, sometimes it goes another 4 or 5 hours behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got some more videos on the Eclipse stage to release them. That way it puts a little more consistency. I'm editing a video. I got a cobalt polisher, like the orbital polisher for shining cars and stuff. So I put that to use. That's going to be coming out soon. And then getting back to the mini bikes, I got to do a brake job on one of them. I brought a parts bike up here so I could rip some stuff off from it and be going back and forth between the stuff.
I'm trying to convince my dad. My dad's he lives out in Bun Level. I don't know if you know where that is, in the middle of nowhere. It's like outside Lillington, and he's got like 25 or 28. He's got a bunch of land out there. Trying to convince him, was like, you know what your grandkids need? So he's already built a pond in his property and stocked it with fish, so they can go fishing in about a year and a half or so whenever they had their first cycle or season. I don't know. There's some rule to it, but like, you know, your grandkids really need is a go-kart track. So I'm trying to get my son to keep asking him, because he's kind of a sucker for it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, my daughter could ask my dad for just about anything, and right away he'll go get it for her.
Yeah. Well, it's funny now, like all this stuff that, like, and I get it. I love my parents to death, man. My parents, they gave up a lot for me and my brother and sister to be able to do the things we did growing up. Money was by no means in abundance, and that was never on my mind as a kid. Never knew it. I grew up playing ice hockey, which is an expensive sport, but my parents were working, like, at one point my mom was working 3 jobs for that. So, but now, right, that they don't have any kids in the house. Like, my dad, he's got a better job than he's ever had. So does my mom. And so they're living pretty well. And now, like, all this awesome stuff that I would have loved as a kid, like, all my kids are getting it. How old are your kids, Ken?
So my daughter's 12, and then my 2 stepsons are about to, like, within the next month or so, both turn 14 and 16. So
Are they excited about the Eclipse build?
So Damien is, it's actually his car, and I mean, he knows that he's the one that paid for it. So when we bought it, the guy was asking $500 for it, as is, come get it. So I pulled the $500 out. I was going to pay for all of it. I was going to buy it either way. But Damien had $271 that he had saved up. And I said, look, when we get there, let him know it's going to be your car. You want it. This is what you have, and see what he says. So as soon as Damien said that, hey, what's going on, Rick? The guy's like, yep, I'll take 271 for it. So we're rebuilding.
He's the outright owner. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling too. That's a special feeling for it being your first car. No matter it could be on cinder blocks. That's like a great feeling.
Yep. So he enjoys working on it, but unfortunately, it is a 95. So some of the connectors and stuff like that are dry rotted and a little brittle. So I've been doing a lot so he doesn't break it. And so he's kind of lost a little interest in the working part of it.
Yeah.
But he's excited for it to come back and actually start running and stuff like that. I'm hoping we didn't get shafted on buying that motor and that it actually runs. We lost him. What'd you hear today, Ed?
Then he's back.
Yeah, screwed up. I had my phone pinned against my laptop so I could watch the hockey game, and it keeps sliding, so it like hits a button.
Okay, Ed.
Isn't that a CVT transmission in the Ridgeline?
Yes, it is. Oh, I don't know about the Ridgeline.
I've heard like as far as the CVTs go, the Honda CVT is probably one of the better ones, but they get overpowered super easily.
Yeah, don't do a Nissan.
No. Well, yeah, they gave that Pathfinder like 300 horsepower to go behind that freaking CVT and blow it up super fast.
Yeah, the Nissan CVTs don't have the best reputation, so.
Well, those engineers had to like engineer in fake shift points because it was bothering people to not hear their car shift gears. At least that's what they had to do when CVTs first came out. I don't know if they still do it.
I don't know that much about them.
They don't really shift gears because it's just constantly variable.
CVT stands for continuous variable transmission.
Yep.
That's CVT. And
so when you're driving it, the car might sound like it's like sitting at high RPM when it's really just kind of settling in, and it bothers people. Like my dad drove one, and it was pissing him off because he's like, this transmission's broken. I'm like, no, it's just how it is.
Ed, I sent you the link in Facebook Messenger if you want to pop up.
Yeah, CVT transmission was invented in World War II for the Germans to save fuel in their tanks. And that's why they invented the CVT transmission. Because the CVT transmission is designed for always be able to run at the perfect power curve of the engine. So you never overload it or underload it or whichever, and therefore you can save fuel. So, and then Fendt bought the rights out of that and put it in their tractors in 96, 97, somewhere in there. And then from there, was it in 2000, something like that, 03. That's where the patent ran out altogether. So, and that's where everybody put them in.
Well, Ken, I hate to run, man. I didn't realize how late it is. I got to go to bed.
No, you're good, man.
All right, I got to work in the morning. So you guys take care.
All right, we'll see you. I'll be there for part of your stream tomorrow night.
No, you're good, man. Show up, you show up. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Later,
take
buddy.
care, man. So Ed, I have seen that new Harbor Freight racing motor, the Ghost 212. What a lot of people don't realize about it is they actually have an aftermarket kit that goes with it as well that you can buy from the store. So it comes with a bunch of extra stuff that for it. So my first car was a 92 Camaro. It was one of the 25th anniversary models. It was white with the red stripes and T-top. I wish I had never gotten rid of that car. So I had it sitting at my dad's house when I went to Okinawa, Japan in 2005. When I got home in December of 2007 from there, I went to start getting it going to where I could start driving it again. And from the fall, the leaves fell down, hit the windshield, and kind of went down into the motor and the engine bay. And I didn't realize it. And I should have cleaned them out, but I didn't. And once I got the car started, some of the wiring in it had dry rotted or something had chewed on it, but the wiring caught some of those leaves on fire. So I had to smash a bucket of ice to get some water to throw on it to put the fire out, and I ended up getting rid of the car. But I wish I hadn't. Well, I might do something like that in the future. But 55 Chevy, that's a nice first car. But yeah, not too much going on, guys. For those of you that just joined, I've got some traps for some raccoons on the club, and that bottom is not North Carolina legal compliant because it's got to have this D-ring on it to where they can set up a chain. So I did, a little bit of welding. It ain't the prettiest, but nothing falls off from it, so it'll hold for some raccoons anyhow. And that's what's on the live stream, guys. From some of the videos I've seen, the Ghost, it's cheaper to build up a regular 212. I would have to agree with you, Mater. The cost of it and then the aftermarket parts and stuff. Yeah, I would probably have to agree with that statement. Just read the disclaimer about being intended for adults. Sorry. It's all right, Terry. You're always welcome. 82 Firebird. My thoughts on Cobalt's future. I think it's going to end up getting phased out in the next 3 to 5 years, Ed. I really do. With Craftsman being in Lowe's and then them pushing the flex tools, I think Cobalt might get phased out in the next 3 to 5 years.
I don't think so.
No?
No, because Cobalt's name is about as big as Craftsman these days.
Is it?
Yeah. A lot of people have Cobalt stuff. So I think Flex will be phased out before Cobalt will. Because I don't think Flex is doing all that great. So I don't know about you, but I don't see much about it. So
No, only when they released that video that everybody did a live stream about that night.
yeah. So,
but I'm no tool expert either, so it's not my big niche.
that's right. At Cobalt Fan Club, I think it's about as strong as Craftsman Fan Club. So, but I think they're just trying to do something with the flex, and I think it fell on its face to be honest with you. So it wasn't as promising as they thought it would have been. So I think you'll see it being phased out in a couple of years because they've been on the market now for what, almost a year?
Oh, Cobalt?
No, Flex.
Oh, Flex. I can't speak intelligently enough about it.
Well, it must be something like that. But have they added any more tools to the lineup? I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
So
I know they did. So yeah, he said it's been out for about a year.
yeah, see, and by now, I would expect a much bigger Gary, a much bigger lineup. That's what they have. So
So Ed's saying about 4 tools. So if they just came out with that video, what did they already have to redesign the initial one that's only been out for a year or so? Or did I miss something about that whole release ordeal?
I looked at it and I laughed at it. So I never believed in it. My first, it's a new name and that's tough these days to come in such a heavy saturated market for battery powered tools.
Yep. Gary, I just sent you the link on Instagram too if you want to come up, man.
Yeah, your Tarek says they have about 10 tools available of the Flex line. Yeah, and I'm 100% with you, Tarek. I think it's shit. So I think it's overblown. And they're trying to create a hype, and it just didn't. It didn't deliver.
No, I don't think their sales have done much.
So yeah, I think they came on a little too late.
Then you think Cobalt will be the staple of Lowe's and what they have to offer?
Yeah, together with Craftsman. So, and they also sell, was it Hitachi? Isn't it something like that, or Bosch? What is it? What's the other brand that they also sell?
Well, I know they do have Bosch tools there because my dad bought one of the routers. Let's see. I have a couple of Flex polishes from my day in the auto body shop.
Yeah, you see, but the whole Tarek, the whole thing is, it's that's what they're trying to sell with Flex. It's a German brand. It's not. They're trying to ride on the name of what it is or what it was. Because I heard the same thing, that those polishes are supposed to be pretty good, but
yeah. So Tarek said they have Hitachi and Metabo also.
yeah. I mean, what the hell are you going to do as a store to have 5 different kind of brands?
I mainly got into the Cobalt line because Lowe's offered the 10% military discount. That was and it was at the time more financially sound to buy that than into some of the other brands.
Right.
No, I'd like to say I like them. I've been impressed with them. I'm definitely not going to get rid of any of my Cobalt tools, but at the same time, I'm gonna upgrade to some other stuff especially with the hand tools.
Yeah, I see what Tarek says it right there. DeWalt, Craftsman, Bosch, Craftsman again, Cobalt, Metabo. That's a lot of fucking tools on
Hmm.
the end of the day. Uh, so yeah, yeah. If I think Cobalt is pretty good. So to what's that one that's orange? What's that name? What's their name again?
The rigid.
Rigid. That will be another one that it will be like a second runner up for me. So yep, Rigid. Yep.
Yeah, I was looking at some of their shop vacs recently. What's up, Gary?
Not too much. So just sitting back and I did get a lot of stuff done today though, so
That's
it's nice
good.
to kind of kick back and chill.
It was just the opposite with me. I'd go to start something, and I'd get a phone call. Hey, I need you to go do this, or hey, this came in, come pick it up. And it's just like, damn, now I got to take this kid to baseball practice. So it was just one thing after another today.
Well, I had one that we took him to the urgent care because this morning last night, you guys know, he had a headache. And then this morning he got up and he was doubled over holding his stomach. And I'm like, that ain't good. So we went to an urgent care this morning and they basically said everything sounds fine. Everything checked back fine. It's just probably a little stomach bug, that had him doubled over. So, I mean, I lost some time off of that, but, that's parenting 101. You're going to go
Yep.
through that no matter what.
Yep. That actually was going around here, I want to say about 2 weeks ago. A bunch of the kids had the same exact thing. They weren't actually throwing up or anything like that. It was some sort of stomach bug that was going around. And after about a week of it, it passed on, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, so I mean, the school once I told him, I was like, dude, he's going to urgent care. Like they did the vid test and everything. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I mean, they put him through the paces, and it was like,
Well, good,
you know,
Butchie.
Yeah, I hope you found a place too.
yeah. And then Mater, the race cars are going on. I think we're set because it's looking like it's going to be in the 80s this weekend.
Yep.
So we're going racing.
Saturday's going to be 80s.
Yeah.
We're going to have a
So,
lot of rain for the rest of the week.
well, I'm hopeful that we can get at least the car out. So, I mean, not only can I make hours, but you know what I mean? Like, it's racing. The one thing that I can look forward to. You know what I'm saying? So, hearing the engines and stuff, and hanging out with the family, and my track family. So, it's nice to be able to look forward to something like that for one day. You know, but I do plan, weather permitting, I do plan on trying to knock out the camper this week. So, if things go right, which they should, weather looks like it's going to cooperate enough for me to like strip off the roof and get that leak sealed. And once that's sealed, the interior, I mean, screw it. It's basic.
Yeah. Derek.
So I'm just shocked that you went on today, like kind of random.
It was 100% random. So I had actually talked to Matt with Brailsford's Ride over the weekend. I was thinking about trying to do one from my dad's garage, but I just didn't get anything done the way I wanted to over there today. So I ended up back here and I started working on these traps. I still got about 10 more to do. What's going on, Hector? Thanks for coming in. I'm doing good. Um, so it was the first time I'd done any welding in over a year. So I was like, you know what? I'm wide awake. I don't want to go to sleep yet. I don't have anything else to do tomorrow except eventually go over and start working on the car about 10 when dad's available. And I was like, screw it, let's go live for a little bit. Because I initially thought today was Tuesday and Ed was supposed to be going live. So, I mean, I had snacks and stuff ready to go. And when I messaged him about 10, he's like, yeah, no live tonight, bro. I was like, oh, that's right, it's Monday.
Yeah, see, I did that last week. I thought Monday was Tuesday and like got all screwed up. And yeah, I mean, my days have been running together for the last like month. So,
yep. And usually I have class Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and that keeps me somewhat in line. But last week was spring break for both the kids and I. So, man, I didn't know what was up and what was down and which way I was coming or going.
yeah, but at least you had fun. So, and you got
I have
to
to
get
check my
cupcakes.
phone to see what day it is. I have no idea because I can care less. On the end of the day, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, as long as you make that paycheck.
Yeah.
No, we got our opening ceremony for the baseball league tomorrow night. They've got an announcer is going to be announcing all the coaches and the team. And then from there, the elementary school is going to sing the national anthem and raise the flag. So that's going to be a good time. I'm looking
Sweet.
forward to that.
Now, see, I know that they had
It's about
the
12:30.
scouts.
I'm gonna hop off. So,
All right, thanks for coming on, man.
So, thank you for having me on, Ken.
Always.
Everybody, take care, and we'll see you tomorrow, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably most likely.
So, all right.
All right, bye.
Yeah, see you there. But yeah, like when they would do baseball around here, they get the Cub Scouts together and have them do flag ceremonies and stuff for like sporting events and things. And they'd have like the elementary school choirs and stuff do things. It was really neat for the kids, you know, and also the parents. I mean, they really liked it too. So it's cool to see that that's down in that way, that you know, it's still going on.
Yep. Yeah, this is the first time we're actually doing an opening ceremony for the rec league. So that was something we kind of came up with this year, and we're gonna roll with it.
Nice. Well, that, I mean, it's all about the kids at the end of the day too. So it's like, you know, what can you do to make it bigger and better than last year?
Yep. So it'll be a little hectic for me because I've got my 12U team that I'm the head coach of. Then there's the 15U team who I was the head coach of last year. I'm the assistant coach this year. So they're going to do it in order. So I've got to figure out which one they're doing first so I can have a jersey and a hat on. And then once they start getting to the next one, I got to run over, take that jersey off, put another one on, and then get in line again.
Yeah, but, you know, small price to pay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I need the link so we can post it.
Yep. Because you know that everything's going to that's actually going to go places. I could definitely see it going places.
Let's see if I can find it. There's a bunch of them, Tarek. I don't know which one it is, man.
Yeah. And I got to see Ed's comment up a little bit ago that there's days of the week, man, where I'm thinking that it's going to be Ed's night or it's, you know, Jude's night or whatever. And I'm like, wait a minute, where's so-and-so? oh shit. Like, it's not even that day of the week, but it feels like it.
Some hate and threats for people saying they're looking for my address. I would hate to see you not be able to do the lives anymore, Ed. But at the same time, I understand, and especially since you are a very big family man.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that later, I guess. It just, I don't know. But
yeah,
Tarek, if you find it and you can't post it, send it to me on Instagram, and then I'll post it down in the chat. What you're working on? What episode 5 or 6 of the racetrack interviews?
Well, Wednesday I have number 6 that's getting recorded. Friday is number 7. Hopefully Saturday will be number 8.
Okay.
So that gets me through like the end of the move situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to get more drivers. That way I can have, because it takes nothing to do the interviews.
Yeah.
In reality. But there's the one issue that I have is that the video personality at the racetrack, they also have a channel, and they're starting to do driver interviews now. Really?
So they saw you doing them and then they start doing it?
Yeah. And I mean, I have no ill will against the guys. I mean, they're, they do their thing. They have all the equipment and stuff. So, I mean, but it's just like, man. But there again, it's kind of like.
Welcome back, sir.
Oh. You guys hear me?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can't hear. Hold on, I gotta jump out and jump back in.
Uh-oh. But yeah, it's not that like I hate the fact that they're doing what I'm doing, because I mean everybody on YouTube does what everybody's doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But it's kind of like, okay, this is kind of personal because we're doing the same drivers basically. Like, a lot of the guys that I have, they race at the track. There's only been a handful that haven't. But there again, I'm doing, my thing is interviewing drivers from all over the U.S. and guys that race way different setups.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep, we can hear you.
Is that a big wiener? What's up, Bocce?
What's going on, Troll Hunter?
Just hunting some trolls, hunting for trolls. That's what I do best. Hunting for I'm hunting for some trolls.
Hunting for trolls to get the big old steak dinner.
You got a nice little man pussy on you, don't you, boy? Have you seen that video? Have you seen that little clip from with the Bugs Bunny and the Elmer Fudd, where it's like the evil Bugs Bunny, and he like spends. You haven't seen it? I'll have to send you that sometime. It was like, I don't know. It's weird. It's some guy. He got into some issue with Warner Brothers and Disney, and so basically he's taken all the characters from all the Disney deals and he's turned them into like creepy characters, and he's on YouTube, and he got a tight little man, and he turned Bugs Bunny into this deep voiced rabbit, and he hunts Elmer Fudd, and he's like, "Oh no, don't hurt me, Mr. Wabbit."
So it's a disgruntled employee with a sense of humor.
Yeah, somebody's had to have seen it. It's what's up, Adam? Yeah, anyways, it's funny.
I'll
It's
have to
kind
look
of
that up.
it's kind of weird humor, I guess, too. I'm not really, but I just can't get it out of my head, so I think about it all the time. It's like one of those things that sticks to you like peanut butter to your ribs.
Yeah.
The stuff we'd find amusing.
Yeah, twisted. Yeah.
I tell you that I've never seen twisted humor like I had when I was in the Marine Corps, especially around a bunch of infantry guys.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I could only imagine.
It's a whole different level that people have no clue about.
Wish I could think what that guy's name was. He's on YouTube. Anyways, I don't mean to.
Thank you, Ed.
What are you guys talking about? I didn't mean to derail you. Oh, look at that, Ed with the $5 holla.
Where's Cajun when you need them? The boom booms.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, 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 boom.
Enjoy your glass of wine, Ed.
I can do some tooting if you would like.
Copy.
Have you seen that one video, CP, where the dude hits third gear with the fart?
Hits third gear with the fart, huh?
Yeah, he shifts through. It's like he shifts through 3 gears, and I'm like, dude, there's no way this is real. But it turns out that the video is actually real. I'm like, how in the hell is that possible? But it was amusing. A bunch of people like that I know was sending me that, and I'm like, dude, this is hilarious. There's goals in life at that point.
Oh shit, that's Brailsford's.
See, Ed.
There we go. That's
what
the WJP one. No, we weren't really talking about much of anything in particular. Just what we had going on the channels.
Meat Canyon. That's the guy's name. Meat Canyon. Yes.
I've heard of that before.
Have you?
I might have seen some of his stuff a long time ago.
Yeah. Yep. He's all over YouTube, and I think he got sued by Warner Brothers and Disney, I think, a couple of times because they said that he was defacing their characters or whatnot. You know how sensitive Disney is nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a little bit on the woke side.
No, I watched your video earlier, CP. You hit it 100% on the head with the labor laws. I think that's one of the biggest downfalls as to people buying American.
Yeah,
pretty hard to argue with those kinds of things when you look at it. Like people don't understand what's going on in that country over, like how the reason why we're losing to those countries is because they don't implement the same kind of labor standards that we do for our employees. And I've tried to come up with terminology for this over and over and over. And China's just exploiting America right now for that. And it's like, we need to pull the reins on it a little bit, I think, in my opinion, because, Amazon's tripping out. You see people like Gear Wrench, even Gear Wrench is selling out their own company because there's bigger profits by bringing in SATA. And I start to realize this is why they're doing this. If you look at why would Gear Wrench, why would Apex bring in a whole other brand in Amazon, and it's all China based, and some of it is very similar looking to Gear Wrench already, and they reversed Matco's name, and there's just like, dude, this is 100% just not. We're turning into a knockoff culture. Mm-hmm. I don't know, and I understand people need to save money. I'm totally aware of like the corporate machine gets to win, and everybody wants to be rich, okay? And the problem is that's just not possible.
No, it's not.
And quite frankly, I don't think people really understand the level how evil money is. Like, I'm not saying that I've ever been rich enough to have a bunch of money, but I have had a decent share of money at times. And, I can honestly tell you all it brought me was more headaches. And honestly, I feel like having just enough and being creative and being forced to be creative with, less money is a blessing in disguise. And it's just, you don't know how lucky you are. And I'm not saying it shouldn't hinder anybody from their goals of ever going out to being rich. Like, whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah.
is what you want to do.
I'm right there with you too. I don't think I'd ever want to be a multimillionaire or anything. And I mean, I say that right now because I've never had that kind of money.
Right.
Realistically, I just want to get to the point in life where I can pump gas and buy beef jerky and not have to worry about what it costs.
Right. And like, I've got a buddy, he's not a super rich man, but he like can do whatever he wants, but he doesn't overspend. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't live in a big badass house, and he doesn't go out and drive a crazy expensive car. And he says to me all the time, he's like, man, I make the perfect amount of money. I swear, I'm happy. And he goes, I hate money. And I hate money too. I honestly do. Because I think people, if we were back into trading for stuff, it'd be a lot less, there'd be a lot less jealousy.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, if we didn't have currency, you couldn't just go out and be like, I'm going to make a YouTube channel, make a bunch of money, and then I'm going to be famous. Well, you can't get that. That's not a tangible product or good. You know what I mean? So if we had to just go back to trading stuff, it would make people work harder. Like, hey, I'll come over and fix your house, and you do something for me. You know what I mean? Like, you would just
a barter and trade system again. Yeah.
I like bartering and trading. I mean, the problem is nowadays people are just dumb too about trading. I literally had a guy that I've been wanting to sell this Yamaha of mine because I don't do anything with it. And I bought it because I just, like buying old collector motorcycles, and I always do the same thing. I end up selling them after a while. And, guys like offer me complete trash. Hey man, I want to trade you this lawnmower for your motorcycle. My perfect, pristine condition, 10,000 mile motorcycle for your lawnmower that's just completely roached.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Yeah, I'll do that, bud. I was like, were you planning on offering anything else? Like, like pretty much the whole rest of the mountain in cash and maybe the $100 with the lawnmower? And, it's just stuff like that. It's like, yeah, money is definitely evil. 100% is, for sure.
Yeah. That, or they'll have, like, I see it with go-karts and mini bikes all the time. They'll have a mini bike that they bought and they put like a stage 1 kit on it, which is, if you buy, so each company that you can buy stage 1 kits for are all a little bit different. If you buy the most expensive stage 1 kit, you're looking at about $75 for it.
Right.
So you buy let's say just one of the Coleman CT200Us, because that's one of the more common ones. You're looking at about $500 for that, and then another 75. So we'll say you got 600 into it, and then they'll post it online and they'll want 900 or 1,000 for it.
Way more than you could buy every part for it brand new.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I'll give you $250 for it because it's used, and that's what realistically it's worth.
Right.
Because you didn't install the jets properly, you didn't do this right, and now the motor's locked up or it's stopped because you left it outside, and now you want that much for it. And
No, it's like that. It's just like that go-kart I got. I mean, it's not worth a shit ton of money. It's like, I don't want to stick in a bunch of money in it, and I want to put, but I also want to make it cool, and like do something fun with it. But what do? I was waiting for that ghost motor to come out. I think that's a letdown, honestly. Like that new Predator motor.
Uh-huh.
I think that's a joke. Honestly, I think it's It's their way to try to get into the racing scene because they got a out of the box race motor, and they can get a series built around that. That's all it was. That's all it's for. It's for sales. It's a
And, you
Well,
marketing
that
know,
ploy.
quarter midget's already run the Predator engines anyway, so
yeah,
I know, but this is an out of the box, like it's a race motor for karting, a karting race motor, specifically where the 212 Predator was not a karting race motor. They had to build it. Now this one doesn't have a governor on it. What is it? It comes with a carb. It comes
yeah,
with a
like the 22
flat slide.
millimeter carburetor, slide carb on it. And they actually have like an aftermarket parts kit that you can spend an additional like hundred and something dollars on. You
Yeah,
buy the motor and you buy that kit and you put it together, and you could have bought a used 212 from
right,
somebody for $50 and then completely put that money into it and have like a stage 4 race kit
right.
that can absolutely blow it to
Yeah,
pieces.
I was watching Redbeard's garage on the video on it, and it's just like it what's it run 6,000 RPMs or something like that. It's supposed to like
Yeah,
uh, red
roundabout.
line that, and I was like, you know, I don't know a shit ton about these motors and stuff. Keep in mind, I'm pretty green because I'm not trying to get into the karting world at all or
Mhm.
anything. But I obviously have always liked stuff. It's just all about the sales. Yeah, yeah. I think it is 100%. They're trying to They're trying to market their own race. I mean, this is basically like the Winston Cup Series, or I
Mhm.
mean, that's what they're trying to do. Is they're trying to get the Predator Cup Series karting racing. I mean, it's big money in it. You look at all these. We have the Battle of the Barn here, and then they have the couple little circuits around here that run those tracks. And I don't keep up on the stuff, but dude, I should know there's like 200 people out there running those engines. You think about it, that's 200 people. They're going to blow those things up time
Yep.
and time again and drop $100, drop 100. Well, what are they? $150? What's the Predator Ghost going for?
I think it's 299.
Oh,
yeah, I
is it
think it's
299?
Yeah.
299. So you
Uh-huh.
definitely can build a 212 engine and be better off in the long run. Like so. So what do you get on this? You're getting a car, but you buy with a 212. You can buy them on sale for what, 130 if you catch them on a
Yeah.
deal. Okay,
Yep.
so you catch them on a deal, and I was just trying to do some rough math on it, but carbs $50. You get
Oh
a
no.
good, huh?
So if you get one of the cheap Makuni knockoffs, which is what they put on it, you're looking at about $50 for it.
Right. So you got $50 in the carb, and then you can put billet rod and stuff like that in there, and then change the flywheel over to a billet flywheel.
You
You're
can.
probably going to end up in it for what, $350-$400
Yep.
for a 212 that's actually built. And there's
Uh-huh.
no way that you could build that Ghost Predator to that spec of that 212 with all the billet stuff in it for under 450 or something like that, right?
Right. So if you were to buy the 212 Ghost or the 224 Ghost and then that aftermarket kit, you're looking at about $400 before you need a few other parts that doesn't come with it. I would rather go to Studs Racing and buy this that they actually, is that showing up? Yep.
The Briggs Animal, huh?
Yep. This is a truly built to spec motor by somebody that does this type of stuff.
And it's an American motor.
Now it's out of stock right now, but I mean, this is all the stuff that comes in it. It's a much better bang for your buck. And Studs Racing is out of Dearborn, Michigan,
Yep.
and it's a local company, a local mom and pop shop that is doing this type of stuff. I would rather buy from them and support them than Harbor Freight on that one.
No,
Most definitely.
yeah, they're having a hard time. They're gonna have a hard time selling that off as I mean, I get it. It'll be a great like plug and play motor for someone to put on a cart and race it, but it's not gonna be competitive to a guy that's to a kid. You know how some of these guys are. There's about 150,000 dads out there that are
Yep.
not gonna let their kid just run one that's just full open, just uncorked, and they're gonna give it everything they can because you look at somebody like Millennial Farmer. His kid runs those sprint car, those little mini sprints, and they use those 212 engines or whatever the hell they are.
Yep.
And you know that dude's putting he's got $1,000 in every one of those engines he builds, and he does not give a shit about putting $1,000 into it.
No,
Dude, there's guys at the quarter midget track, not to interrupt you there, Eleanor,
no, you're good.
that they spend $9,000 to $15,000 on the frame alone, just the chassis. They spend another $6,000 to $10,000 on tires, and then they'll have like 5 or 6 engines that are totally 100% custom.
So there's a track down here by me that does mini bike races. I did a race there in January when I flipped the mini bike. They've got guys that have drag bikes that are built running on methanol. And I mean, they've got almost $6,000 in just the motor alone for mini bikes. That's way above my pay grade and my wallet's capability, but those things are wicked fast and they're fun.
Yep.
But it's like anything in motorsports. It will suck your wallet dry faster than a friggin' $2 hooker.
Hey, listen, I know all about this racing stuff. Like, you know, I did a little bit of hair scrambling for a little bit and started driving and I was like, wait a second. You know, this is ridiculous. And then not only that, you know, shooting competition pistol, anything you do that's competitive is not for the faint of heart if you're not willing to just throw away money. And, you know, minimum $1,000 every weekend that you go racing. You know, I mean, you can cut corners and do it cheap. Don't get me wrong. But like those guys, there's a lot of guys that are there. They're throwing away $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 just to go to a race. Yep. And I don't know what entry fees cost for some of those races, for those go-karts and whatnot. But, I mean, when you figure out fuel to, you know, drive to some of them with their trucks and whatnot and the trailer and then tires and, you know, some of them are putting new tires on. I mean, it's just dumb. It gets out of hand real fast.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Big money.
And compared to what it should be, now I get it. Like it should be, you just throw a race engine on, you know, the best driver wins. But, you know, obviously once again, it's all about who has the most, you know, that's why money's evil, you know, because you know, there could be somebody out there that's really talented that doesn't have a chance because he doesn't have deep enough pockets. You know, I don't know. It's not that it's unfair. I'm not trying to say that because that'd be communist if you're, you know.
Right. Well, no, that's half the reason why, like, I'm doing the series the way that I am is just because, you know, kind of taking the names that nobody's heard of, you know, and like outside their area and giving them a chance, like, you know, to be seen.
Well, I've seen those kids down at the Battle of the Barn races here that are like on a strict budget, you know, and I've seen their stuff and they've got junk, you know, the seats are broken. They're using secondhand parts and, you know, they're out there to have fun, but they're trying to be competitive. And then they don't win the race and, you know, and we don't, you know, I mean, they don't need participation trophies. I mean, obviously that's part of winning and losing, you know, I mean, that's how it is, but you know, it's, and life's a bitch, I guess, you know, that's what it is all at the end of the day, you know.
Yep.
So don't like it, make more money.
There's about 25 acres for sale right across the street from this neighborhood that I'm in. I would love to be able to buy it and then just clear some trails and just let the kids come ride and race for free. I mean, hell, I got 4 mini bikes sitting right there. I've got another 3 down in the storage unit with 3 go-karts. I would just buy stuff up and just get them running to where they can ride them and just let the kids come ride for free. Just come out and have a good time to get them away from the Xboxes and stuff like that.
Yeah, dude, that's definitely a big thing right there. Getting got, you know, I really thought during this pandemic this would stick a little bit more, but I hear kids still. My buddy's daughter was bragging about buying. I guess there's a new Xbox out. They just came out again, and they were. I was like, why would you buy? I go, you're literally, you have a moped, you have a moped license, you're like 15 years old. and you're worried about playing video games. Like, oh, I stayed up till midnight the other night, and I'm like, why? Why? Like, dude, like, there's so much more to life.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I'll be the first to admit my kids play video games and stuff like that too. But we've got spring baseball, they've got summer baseball with the Legion, and then they've got fall baseball with the rec league and stuff. So it doesn't consume their everyday nonsense like it does some kids.
Yeah. Well, and it's the same with mine. Like when they go up to the shop with me, like obviously my boss's kids, like we have them like they have riding lawnmowers up there like without the decks on them, and they get running them around and just having a blast. So it's great. Like I know that they both want like a little side by side go kart or something, but in due time, I got the priority list. But I'd love to get them stuff like that or get them some mini bikes. Like my oldest is definitely wanting a pit bike, to just have his little bit of independence so he can go, to the concession stands and rate it. I'm like, what more could you ask for? I mean, it gets them off of the video games and it gets them,
Dude, I used to get grounded for going fishing all the time because I didn't, because like my dad was like, you can't go fishing. Like and I'm like, why can't I go fishing? Like I would get grounded for being outside too much. Like you're out too late fishing last night, so you can't go fishing tonight. I mean, that's the kind of crap and like I had video games and I didn't play them, like I never did, and I'm not saying I don't have video games and I haven't played them. I have an Xbox and I have all the shit I got, I played it, but my problem is I don't never last long enough. I lose interest in it way too fast, because life's more interesting outside to me.
Same here. The last video game system I personally bought was a PlayStation 2 because I needed a DVD player as well.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, for sure. I remember. Yeah,
I still have PS2 games.
Yeah, that was definitely the bonus about buying them. Like you're like, well, why buy a DVD player when you can buy a game system and a DVD? And then that's exactly. I watched more movies on my Xbox than I actually did play the video game. Not only that, I used it as the Xbox when I bought it because you could download music to it. And I think I remember doing that where I was downloading music to it and just using it as a basically like a Apple. Stereo. Yeah, it's stereo. I mean, like playing it through my,
Yeah. I mean, now everything's a streaming service, but like PJ had a video and he had a point in that video where he said that he wanted to watch My Cousin Vinny. Well, every time it was streamed, he could, in that it was available during that time, he could never catch it. So he's like, why do I need to pay $3 for a streaming service when I can go right here he was at Menards and he's like, I could pick it up for $4 and own it and watch it whenever I want. Like, he's like, so what, the benefits of, streaming services kind of are limited. And it just hit home with like, we grew up in that era of, okay, we had CDs, we had DVDs, it was tangible stuff that you can actually own. Nowadays, do you really own your streaming service? Because if it goes down,
no,
right? No, you don't,
and you have no control over. Okay, well, they're stopping this video because of such and such.
Well, then, like Mudster says, he got grounded for riding around his bike on back roads. Dude, I got grounded because I took my horse and buggy out with my buddies, and we were driving around, going to all my friends' house and hanging out with them when I was a kid. Like, dude, there's not many people that can say, "Oh, what is some of the things you got?" I remember we were out all day, and my dad was like, "You're out running that horse." I'm like, dude, the Amish run their horse all day around in the buggy. What's the difference? Yeah. And when I was like, I didn't have a license. I was 14 years old. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to like hook up the horse and buggy and take it all over. My dad figured out that I was smart enough to figure that out. He put that to kibosh. He's like, you're not going to be running that horse around all damn time. I'm like, you got chores to do and stuff. And I'm like, hey, what are you talking about? We had a blast. It was like having a car. We
Yeah.
both, me and two buddies fit right on it.
Yeah, I used to ride my bike and skateboard all over the place. I mean, if I wanted to go to the shopette on base and buy a soda, I rode my skateboard or the bike a good 2.5 miles just to get there to buy a damn soda. I mean, when I wanted to go to the community pool, same thing, rode the bike there. When I turned 16, my dad let me take the car to work, and that was about it.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I grew up outside too, hunting and fishing and playing
Yep.
and swimming and drinking from the creek. We thought that it was safer to drink from the rapids. We just couldn't see the dirt and stuff in the little pebble rapids and stuff in the creek.
I didn't drink too much out of any of the water, but that's because I know all the pesticides they're putting in the ground around me with the farming community. And good thing I didn't, because I'd have probably had a third ear by now.
Yeah, I think that's why my
nipple,
immune
third ear.
system is so good, because I did stuff like that as a kid.
Right. I can imagine, dude. It's just weird to me to think that all these kids don't want to go. I mean, like, do you ever remember hearing about kids that were came, and I understand, like, they disappeared, they were out and, somebody abducted them and stuff. But I mean, it was like, you remember, like, there was times when people were like, hey, have you seen so-and-so? And, it turns out he was off on an adventure in the woods, and the whole neighborhood was looking for him. I mean,
Yep.
like, that type of stuff, you never hear about that anymore. And it's so wild to me. And, like, I don't know, man. I just can't imagine.
What
This
times were
neighborhood
different?
that we live in, it's got a pond that's got a built beach and stuff like that on it that the community itself goes to and swims and stuff like that. I made my kids walk down there the other day. It's like 1.5 miles away from the house. I was like, go walk
really?
down to the pond. They're like, what for? I was like, why not? I was like, go down and throw rocks, do something stupid, push each other in. I don't give a shit.
Have
So
fun.
they did. They went down and they were throwing rocks and stuff like that in it. I said, next time, you guys can ride the mini bikes down if you want to. When we get the go-karts running this summer, you guys can ride the go-karts down there and hang out all summer long. They're like, oh, that's cool.
Yep. Give them that little bit of freedom, and then they'll just start running with it,
Yep.
Well, see, I remember, like, the one time at the shop, it just, like, rained and brought the kids up, and they were, like, all up in my freaking business. And I'm like, look, go be a kid. And they're like, what? I'm like, look, there's a freaking mud hole right there. You got bicycles, go mudding. Get dirty. Like, find something to do. You've got 6 acres of land. Find something productive. And they looked at me like dumbfounded. And I'm like, really? Like, dude, you gave me 6 acres of land as a kid. I can have all the fun in the world for hours.
Dude, you didn't want to tell me that I could roam all 6 acres when I was a kid. Like, I mean, like, my cousins came over, and this is like going back to what I was talking about, the neighborhood. My cousins came over, and I was notorious for creek walking. We loved creek walking.
Oh, yeah.
And dude, once I started walking on a creek, I don't even know what time never existed. You know what I mean? Like, time did not exist. Dude, we left at like 10 in the morning, messing around in the creek, and ended up the creek, and we were building dams and, exploring and looking for fish and blah, blah, blah. Dude, my parents never found us until 8:30 in the evening. And I still to this day can tell you that was the fastest day of my life. 10 in the morning till 8:30. I'll never forget it, because my cousin's dad and mom were the first ones to find us. And they were like, you kids have literally scared. They called the cops, and like, they thought we were all abducted. And we were, all 4 of us were all guilty. We're all 4 guilty. Like, they had a pond or a creek behind their house, and they knew too that they were going to get in trouble, because they weren't supposed to go creek walk. Because once they started, we always wanted to find the end of it.
Yeah.
Tunnels, going under streets, whatever it took,
Finding
It
whatever.
was an adventure.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, dude, there's nothing was better. Ponds, you get me around water or anything, nature or any, like if there was birds or then like eagle's nest or if we could find some type of foxhole or
Yep.
coyote den or you name it, I mean, like it just escalated on. I remember we'd find beaver dams and try to find, I mean, stupid stuff. I try to find animals and wasn't scared of snakes or anything, If it was any type of creature, we wanted to find it. It's
Yeah.
just, just had no fear about anything.
Yeah, we used to build ramps to jump over the creeks with our bikes. And then when we found a deep hole in the creek, we put the ramp in front of it just to ride off into the creek and then swim around.
Oh yeah.
We had this one hill at the
Evening, Jeff.
one apartment complex that I lived at, and it was I'd say probably 20, 30 feet. But the incline was what got you. Well, on the other end was like a 15-foot drop down into the creek.
Mm-hmm.
So, like going down this hill on a bicycle, you could not hit the brakes because you were going over. We'd roll down that hill full throttle, slam into the creek. Looking back, it was kind of, dumb, but I mean, dude, we had so much fun, doing that. And like as a kid, it was like, man, cool. And then I got to go back there later, like 10, 15 years ago. And I was like, man, this is kind of stupid. Because this hill is no joke. And I'm like, we're lucky we didn't get broken bones or anything. But like when you were a kid, it was just like, man, this is intense. Mm-hmm. This is fun.
We used to put rope swings up off the sides of a mountain, like cliff type thing.
Oh yeah.
We would swing around it, go back and forth. There was a couple that we had into the Potomac River up in Virginia, all sorts of stuff like that.
Dude, I remember putting up tire swings and rope swings, and they were like, if you found a tree, which just had to be the perfect tree for said rope swing, the next challenge was getting the rope up there and who was the guy that was going to make it happen.
Yep.
Like, I had this one crazy friend, Jeremiah. He had no fear of heights, and that dude would scale a 100-foot tree, and he would always be the one that would tie that up. And there was this one tree that was leaning over, and he was like, I ain't going up this one. And so we actually were we spent days engineering the plans using like boomerangs and fish line. And, we tried, like, everybody's like, oh, get your Nerf. I mean, like, the Sandlot type stuff of getting the ball. Like, we were trying to figure out ways, like we were using a fishing pole and a weight, and then we would throw the weight over it, and that way we could take the line. We'd drag the rope back with the line, but we didn't have heavy enough line because the rope was too heavy. It would break when we were trying to pull it up. And, dude, I mean, just oh, man, stuff like that. And then, dude, building tree houses with elevators and stuff. And I mean, like we were engineers ahead of our time back then, even, I mean,
oh, yeah.
Nowadays
I don't see that many tree houses. I mean, at least around
not
here.
unless you can buy them at Menards. Put up a prefab one.
I mean, some of the stuff that we had, I'm pretty sure OSHA would have shut it down faster than shit. But
Dude, you had to make sure it was safe. You had to make sure it was safe for the nudie bags, though, so that nobody could get to it.
It was safer than a Harbor Freight jack stand. Let's say that.
Dude, I'm not even joking. I wish, and this is the thing is, like, kids, if I would have had camera stuff right now, I would have already been because obviously a lot of us did sketchy stuff, and that's why they say that, like, millennials were like some of the the most dangerous people because they had no fear of anything. Like, dude, we built an elevator out of old rims. I don't even remember, like, I think there was weights, like those concrete plastic covered weights, and we tied them onto so we had to get them so that they were almost a perfect weight of each other, and obviously we didn't weigh the same. So, like, I remember my buddy Brandon was lighter, and he would have to jump on the elevator, and he was jumping on it, and we had a pulley tied up to the tree, and he was jumping on it, and the rope break halfway down. Dude, we're talking about a tree that's like we're up 60 foot. You know, I mean, and he hits the ground. I'm like, he's dead. He's dead. He's not. He's not going to survive, dude. The dude didn't even have a problem. Didn't even get a scratch on him.
Yep. So
Oh,
I've got a scar on the back of my left leg. It's probably about yay long because I was up in a tree and I was trying to hammer a board to it. And my brother thought it would be funny to shake the little tree that my foot was propped up on. And when it did, I fell out of it and I hit a broken branch on the way down and it sliced the back of my leg open. I rode my bike like 2.5 miles home to where my dad took me to the doctor's office to get stitched up.
Oh my God.
See, I remember riding a bicycle, and you remember the old metal
Yeah,
pedals?
kids would die now though. They did that, like with Eleanor. Like kids would lay there and die. They would literally lay there and die. So I feel like they would. Some of them might not, but I feel like some kids wouldn't have the intestinal fortitude. Sorry,
Nope.
Gary, I didn't mean to cut you off.
So like, I was probably 6-7 blocks away from my house, and out riding with the kids during a storm. You know, that's what we normally did. Well, my shoes got soaked, so I put them on my handlebars and was riding barefoot. Well, one of the metal pedals decided to kind of fall off, and it exposed the actual rod.
Oh, no.
I went into some grass, slipped, bike fell down. Somehow, some way, in between my big toe and my second toe, the pedal went inside. And all I could think of was like, how am I going to explain this one? And how am I not going to get my ass beat?
So you
being
did
out that far. So like, put my shoes back on, rode all the way back home. It was like, my foot's bleeding. You know, like, obviously it was pretty funny, but you know, at the same time, looking back, it was like one of the dumbest things I could have done, because it was like, you know, but as a kid, you're not really thinking. You're like, man, I'm out with the boys. We're riding, having a good time. You know.
So I sprained my ankle. I sprained my ankle one time pretty bad. I didn't want my dad to get pissed, so I didn't tell him about it. And I just kept going about my way, you know, like trying to, you know, and he'd be like, why are you limping? And I was like, no, that's something. My leg hurts a little bit. And I wouldn't tell him, you know, I didn't say anything about it, and went on and went on. My ankle started swelling up, and I'm walking around on this the whole time, keep in mind. And when he's around, I'm like putting a full weight on it, acting like nothing's wrong. I did that for like 3-4 days like that before I finally was like, you know, I'm like, dude, my ankle was swelling up so bad at this point because I wasn't letting it heal, that my brother actually told my dad. He's like, something's wrong with Chad's foot. And he comes up and he's like, what'd you do to your foot? And I was like, I don't know. It just started doing that. But really what I didn't tell him was we were building a tree house, and I was standing on this old picnic table, like the old wooden ones with the, you know, and like this thing was rotted to all hell. And as I was pushing up a like 2x4 or 2x6 to get up there, the one end of it gave out of the table and it slipped, and I slid down it. Like, you know what I mean? The one side dropped and broke, and it just smoked my ankle because I put all my weight on it when that thing collapsed underneath it. But, you know, that's the kind of stuff like you're talking about. That's exactly how, I mean, I went like that forever. I'll never forget. I still feel pain in that ankle every once in a while. And I swear it's from that injury, because I did, you know, because I never wouldn't let it heal right away, and then just tried to tough it out.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember at a family reunion, we were playing football, and I found out that a 77 Caddy, the front grill and bumper hurt because I fractured 4 ribs quite effectively.
he said, I found out they hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I got slammed right into the thing.
That was back when Cousin made worth a damn.
Oh, dude, I didn't dent it. It didn't me. And that was the first time I'd ever had cracked ribs, man. And I was like, I thought I was freaking dying. You know, because that
Right.
hurt like hell. But it was like, you know, I found out that, well, back then they stopped taping the ribs. They just give you a pillow.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this sucks. Not even 5 days later, guess what I was doing? Playing football again. Like a dummy.
Yeah, we were. So growing up in the Marine Corps, we moved around a lot. So we would have a group of friends that were real close, and then come towards the end of the time at that duty station, we'd all go into different directions. And eventually, at some point in time, as we got older, we'd all kind of meet back up, or half of us would, or some of us would. And there was this kid, it was a couple from England, Abigail and Tom were their names. And because they had the English accent and stuff like that, they were different. And we were playing football one time, and they wanted to play with us. And they were the new kids. We were. That was back when kids could pick on kids, and it was fine. So we were like, well, we'll let you play, but we're gonna play a game called Smear the Queer, which YouTube probably just demonetized me for saying that, but whatever. And we invited them to play, and they didn't know what it was. So we tossed the football to them, and they're like, well, this isn't a football. They were thinking soccer. And my buddy Adam Shuey hit the kid so hard, he broke his collarbone.
Oh, dude.
And he broke his elbow. We ended up walking the kid home, and Adam and Kevin Shuey, they were the brothers. They were saying, please don't sue us. Please don't sue us. This was back when the McDonald's spilt coffee cup incident first became.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we used to do stuff like that all the time. But I don't know. I guess that's kind of what made us as tough as we are today.
You say that, and that's funny because I remember people would tell their kids not to hang out with us because they would get hurt. So I remember a kid who was a friend of ours, but not like he wasn't allowed to hang out with us.
Yep.
And his name was Ryan. And so I said, hey, dude, you can ride my dirt bike. And I was like, if you want to go up this hill. When you get to the top, you got to kind of like throw your weight forward and go over the top of it. And like, don't go too fast because you'll shoot up over it and you'll land on like the nose. So he like hits it like third gear, pins it, and shoots clear up. I mean, not like a little bit, jumps way up in the air and lands like basically straight down and breaks both of his arms. Both of them. And I'm like, oh my first thought, honestly, was like, he's dead. He's done. Like, there's no way. He's not, because like he shot up 20 foot out of this. And it was basically this little, it was a bowl. I called it, it was a bowl, we called it. But we all used to go like, jump this bowl and with our dirt bikes and stuff like this. And dude, he hit that thing so hard. Never rode a dirt bike much. And I was like, I figured this wasn't going to be that big of a deal, but Ryan was kind of I don't know what you call, I don't want to call him like a sissy boy because he wasn't, but he lifted weights and stuff like that. He was 14 years old and he was a pretty stout kid, but he didn't like play a lot of sports or nothing. He just took care of himself and it was different. So I didn't think he would I thought he had enough common sense not to know dude, when he shifted into third gear, I heard him, he's like, man, man, man. And I was like, no. It was too late, dude. Came down and never let go of the bike. Landed with that and broke both of his arms. Compound fracture on both of his arms when he came down. Dude, and I'm like, this kid had to have his mom wipe his butt for him for like 4 months.
Oh.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Kinda. So,
and then we were forever cemented as the kids that nobody would let their parents would not let them hang out with us because we were so dangerous. Like we would did. I remember this poor kid got a brand new bike. You remember the wheels when they had the like plastic covers on them? You ever remember those bikes that had the like you could take your spoke wheels and put the plastic covers? And he got a brand new bike and it was gray and he had the wheels on, he had the wheel covers and he got it for his birthday. And we're making jumps, we're making ramps to jump on. And we're like, and this is not just like a little ramp. It's pretty good sized ramp for, what we were doing. And we're like, he comes along and he's like, hey man, I'll jump that ramp. And the whole time we're like, kind of like, nah, man, you can't jump this ramp. Like and you're going to mess, you got a brand new bike. And we weren't being we weren't being assholes about it or nothing. We're just like, nah, man, you can't jump this ramp. Like you're going to mess your bike up. No, I can do it, And of course, the kid just wanted to prove to us and be, he wanted to just be friends with us and prove to it. So he was like, I'm going to jump it. I can do it. And I'm like, dude, he freaking cartwheels this bike. I swear to God, 3 times, knocks the wind out of him. Once again, I'm like, he's dead. I'm like, he's done. He's sitting there gasping because he knocked the bike, just destroys this brand new bike that he got for his birthday that he only had for a month. I mean, all the paint's trashed. The handlebars are bent. The seat, cracked the seat. I mean, he did cartwheels because he come flying down the hill and hit this ramp. It just, you couldn't, kids weren't allowed to hang out with us because we were too rough.
Yeah.
Always doing dumb stuff.
Yeah, we got into our fair share of trouble too. Like when we were in Okinawa, Japan, they had a thrift store on base and it was closed, but that area where it was at was some of the best for skateboarding because there was random ass jumps and rails and stuff. So we were there and somebody had donated some stuff to the thrift store and one of them was a bowling ball. I don't know why we had the idea, but we got the idea of climbing up on the roof of the thrift store and throwing the bowling ball down to watch it bounce. So after about the 3rd time of doing it, I was like, well, spin it when you throw it and see what happens and do that. My buddy Josh Kaiser got up there and he put backspin on it. He took it and went like this. And when he did that, it came down, hit the ground and came shooting back up at the roof. Hit the awning and then crashed through the freaking window of the thrift store. So we're like, crap, who's going to go home and tell one of our parents to come over here? So I was like, well, you did it, Josh. So you go get your parents. So he went and got his parents. The MPs came, the military police, and they had to take all of our statements and stuff like that. And they're like, every summer it's something different with you 5 kids. Can you just go one summer without getting into trouble? We're like, no, probably not.
Yeah. See, I remember my friends like the most wicked incident was at my disposal. We were all riding in the hills with 4-wheelers, and I had my Warrior 350 that was modified, board stroked, and I thought I was king shit, with it. And we're flying through the foothills like batshit crazy. Well, this kid that was probably, I don't know, 12, 13, decides to stop at the bottom of one of the hills. I crest the thing in 5th gear, full freaking throttle, because it's a double set. And in order to get up the second one, you needed to be full throttle to even get up it. And yeah, I saw the little orange flag, so I kicked off to the left, not thinking that there's a ravine there. If I would have kicked off to the right, there was a pond. So I just remember yelling, oh shit, and I couldn't get the T out before I smacked the side of the ravine. So my buddies instantly called the freaking coroner's office. I don't know how they got the number. They're like, dude, our friend's dead. And I'm like, I was knocked out for like 30 minutes.
Wow.
I mean, like, it was a hard freaking hit. I broke the chest plate, but my cheekbone went through my skin, concussion, broken collarbone, like major road rash because I slid. Once I hit the ravine, I slid straight down, and was all banged up. But it was on Mother's Day. and school pictures were the next day.
Oh,
So,
dude.
man, it was, dude, I never heard the end of that. Man, I had to sell that thing. And I'm like, man, why? Because that little thing would shit and get,
Good
but I
old
mean, I
dude.
totally destroyed it. Like when they pulled it out of the ravine, the handlebars were all messed up and suspension was broken. I'm like, oh God, there goes 2 summers worth of work.
See, we never had dirt bikes or four-wheelers or even mini bikes or go-karts growing up. Because I mean, with the military, we moved every 3 years.
Oh yeah, so you could,
So
yeah, for sure.
we didn't have any place to ride them, and two, like I said, we just never
Button
had
work, yeah,
that.
hassle.
And that's why I kind of like when I decided to buy the kids one go-kart, it turned into 4 go-karts. Now I've got 7 mini bikes. I'm kind of living out my childhood through them, so within the next year or two, we're going to probably pick up a dirt bike or a four-wheeler, because my parents have 8 acres of property around the road. There's a couple of tracks and stuff like that we can ride them at.
There's a lot of places to ride around where you're at, though. I mean, like, isn't Cars and Cameras in North Carolina too?
They're about, I think, 2.5, 3 hours north of me.
Well, isn't there? What's the one place they go riding at? Isn't that too far from? Yeah, Busco Beach, dude.
Yep.
That place looks like a blast.
Yep.
How far is that from you?
Busco Beach is up near Goldsboro, so it's about an hour and 45 minutes. So I will
dude, that's not bad at all.
No, I will have all of the all 3 go-karts and at least 3 mini bikes running to take them up there July timeframe, so we can ride up there.
Dude, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Busco Beach looks cool. I'm not a big, I mean, I've been to a lot of trail parks in my, I've been to Hatfield McCoy's, and I've been to Rampart Range, and I've been to Ocotillo Wells, and I've been to Glamis, and I've been to, let's see, what else have I been to? St. Joe, Missouri. I've been to a lot of riding parks all over the United States. What the Hatfield McCoy's is fun, I mean, there's so many cool places people don't even know about in the country, but there's, you got to travel. But down in that area, Tennessee, North Carolina, there's a lot of cool riding here. The Hatfield McCoy's obviously is in there too. That trail system goes forever. Really cool stuff going on down there. I used to love it, man. I used to love that trail riding stuff.
And Busco Beach, they let mini bikes go. Okay, it doesn't matter for mud mowers and stuff. It can all go there.
Yeah, the mud mowers is a big thing now. I don't pay a bunch attention to it, but I've seen like the enduro mud races, and like these guys there's some crazy stuff going on. I mean, like, I like it. I got 2 things. I want to tell about the story I was referring to with Gary. I was waiting until he's come back, but I'm talking about taking family pictures the next day. I got one that was really good. Not trying to one up you, but this was really good what I did. Dumb as hell. But I saw on TikTok the other day, I saw a guy built a buggy out of it with a 212 Predator. I don't know if you've seen this thing on there. I think I follow him. Dude built it with a Toyota transmission, some kind of patented adapter plate. Yeah, oh yeah, Glamis was big time. Oh, Tulsa, I've been to Little Sahara too. I've been spending tons of places riding. Spend thousands of dollars riding. Love trail riding. You meet some of the coolest people out doing that stuff. I met friends from all over. But anyways, where was I talking about? Oh, this rock crawler 212 buggy, dude. What a gem! I gotta find this thing. You gotta check this thing out, dude. So freaking cool. So he's using, I can't remember, he had 396 gears or something like that in it, but he had a Toyota 4-speed transmission with a Toyota transfer case, and he did some kind of adapter, but he put a big 100-tooth gear on the adapter for the transmission, still running a centrifugal clutch that worked fine with the transmission. You just didn't have a clutch. You just shifted the gears. You just shifted the gears after he let off. Whatever, how it worked. But dude, he's got a ton of little snippets of this videos on his TikTok of this thing, and it's pretty legit. Running like 33-inch tires on it, and it's super light. But it's pretty badass. I was kind of like, wow, I was impressed. He claims he's got some kind of a patented adapter for transmission to a 100-tooth. which I don't know what it is. It must be something that works. He wouldn't show it. He did a walk around on it or whatnot, but it was neat. The other thing I was going to say is, yeah, mud mowers rule. Dude, it's cool. Trust me, I watch that stuff. I mean, if it's weird or different, I'll watch it. Don't get me, what I mean? Like I get into all that stuff, dude. If I see something that's completely out, like this little buggy that this guy built, this thing couldn't weigh more than 1,200 pounds. I mean, it's got a 212 motor running it, and you don't really need that much power for rock crawling. It's all about gear ratio, so it's really neat. And it articulates like stupid. Like I've never seen nothing like it in my life. This guy has really made something it's interesting. But the other thing I was going to say about Gary, so when you were talking about getting in an accident for pictures, I did one of the stupidest bonehead things. I wasn't big enough to ride a 10-speed. My aunt was getting married the next day, and the neighbor had this 10-speed bike, and they were all riding it through under the bar. I was small enough to fit in between the bar and then pedal it and hang on to the handlebars. And so I got wadded up in this thing and smeared my face down the sidewalk and just got the giantest fat lip before my aunt's, and I was supposed to be the ring bearer in her wedding. And
Lovely road rash.
Yeah, she freaked out on me. Freaked out. And basically I got kicked out of the wedding because of that.
Also, the best part about my thing is that my best friend at the time, he came in right when my mom got home, and she was wondering what the hell happened and everything, and he's like, "Oh, we got into a fight with these older guys, yada yada yada. We're both drinking, just joking around." She thought he was freaking serious, goes to beat his ass 3 ways from Sunday. And he's like, "No, it's a joke. He wrecked the ATV. That's what happened." And I'm like, "What the hell did you do?" Dude, now she's going to beat my ass even more. Why would you put me out like that? You could have told her that, she would have believed that I did the dumb shit. But, I still went for school pictures, and they wouldn't allow me to take the pictures because of my face being all jacked up and everything. I'm like, well, what else do you expect?
Right.
The only thing that sucked was being in the ER for 8 hours. All the x-rays and shit. And I'm like, having to tell the story over and over and over again, well, how fast were you going? I have no idea. I was wide open throttle. They don't have a speedometer. I don't know how fast I was going.
So when my wife and I were still dating, there was 2 incidents where I thought it was going to end the relationship. One of them was when my middle kid, her youngest son, was riding his bike around my old house. So there was a part of the ditch where I would actually back my truck up to, and then I would lower the tailgate, and that's how I would load the riding mower and stuff, because it was lower on the side closest to the cul-de-sac.
Oh, yeah.
And then on the other side of the ditch, it was just the reverse. So it was lower on the side, on the yard closest to the house. Well, he was riding his bike around. He goes, "You think I can make it over the ditch?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. Just get enough speed, go all the way around, and then pop a wheelie, and you'll land, and you'll go right over it." So he's like, "Okay, cool." Well, he does a couple of laps around the house to get some speed. And then he cuts across the yard and he goes over to the other side and doesn't go off the side that was higher to lower. He went from lower to higher, hit the other side, racked his nuts, went up and over the handlebars, and then crashed into the ground over there. And me being me, I'll see people in hell, but I started busting out laughing. It was funny to me that he crashed his bike, because that was normal compared to what we did when we were kids. And boy, she about wore my ass out over that.
Hey, I sent you
protecting those cubs.
I sent you a picture in Instagram of that buggy.
See, I gotta scan the old pictures and put them up on my Instagram of the ATV accident. It was pretty freaking gnarly. I got the after pictures of like after they cleaned me all up.
That is crazy.
You see, I mean, like, dude, it's so simple.
Yeah.
You're like, I mean, dude, this thing would be bad. And like, if you think about it, like rock crawling, like you go to Moab, you could literally go anywhere with this thing, and it's freaking. I mean, dude, it's just got a 212 Predator engine on it, and he just built a roll cage and just got Toyota. I don't know what the axles are, if they're like Toyota, axles or something. But I mean, it doesn't have. It's never going to go fast. That's not the point of it. It's just to have the power. And dude, you got to watch the videos on TikTok of him on there, of him running rock crawling with it. Dude, he never uses a ramp on a trailer. He climbs over cars. Like, he does a shit ton of. He's been doing testing with this. Yeah. It's all because of the gear. That 100-tooth sprocket he's got with, on a 212 Predator, and then the gearing.
Yeah, it's crazy what people can come up with.
Yeah, he's got a 10-tooth. I think, if I remember right, I think he said he's got a 10-tooth and a 100-tooth, or the two sprockets. So that's 101. That's gearing on it. So it's and he shows a video of him driving it in fourth gear, and it's like probably, I don't know, 8 miles an hour, maybe 9 miles an hour at best. Yeah. I mean, it's the gears are stupid big in the rear end and front end. I mean, like, this is it's just genius, because we're talking, I'm guessing, just in materials and in junkyard parts, we're talking about a $500 buggy. Well, the tires look used on it, but honestly, it doesn't matter. That thing's so light. I doubt it even requires that much traction to do anything. But he does a shitload of crawling in it with over some nasty stuff, and it's impressive.
I'll have to try to find him.
I'm gonna tell you this much: you couldn't chase this guy down. If you were going through a giant rock field, you would never be able to catch him in this buggy, because he would just be able to move over him so fluently. I was super impressed, and obviously it's got 1 million views on the video, so it's not like it's a, this dude's got something going on with this, Yeah. But that's the kind of that's the kind of stuff that I dig, though.
Yep.
People that are doing stuff that are different and unique, and like Misfits toys. That dude that's Ron. This guy has always impressed me in my entire life. He runs all of his stuff off propane, because it's like, and I get it. Propane was big before fuel injection, because you don't have fuel slosh or, like if you run propane on it, and he runs everything on propane, that he runs off road or, whatnot. And he built a sweet road grader. He had an old road grader that he turned into a 4-wheel drive buggy, dude. And this thing, you go watch his channel, and he shows it right at the beginning. And that thing was going up hills and rolling it over, and had a ton of power, had a big block 460 in it. And this dude whooped some guys. He spent all of his time just doing this really cool stuff. And that stuff always has intrigued me. People that take that time.
Yeah. Yep. That stuff and so I'm building that mini bike chopper trike, and I'm building it out of square tubing just because it's different. I'm like you. I like unique stuff that stands out, things that are different. Where when you see something, it's like, damn, that's cool. There aren't very many of those around.
All right. It's just something. I mean, like, there's so much stuff that gets overdone. I get it. It's like LS swaps. I understand. Like, I would do one, but I mean, it doesn't seem as cool to me, and it seems like everything's been done, but and then there's always guys like this to do something different, and it's like, why? Because he built it the way he wanted to build it, and he didn't think about what everybody else has done. So you just got to get yourself in that mindset where you want to build something the way you want to get it built, and he is a avid rock crawler. I think that's what helps is you just get down to that point to where you're like, exactly what you want, and then it makes sense to everybody. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's kind of like tools, I guess. When I think about tools that I want to get made or whatnot, I'm like, I've used them, and I'm like, this would work.
Yeah.
So
All right, fellas, it's
yeah,
going on 1:45 in the morning here, so
yeah,
I'll
I'm getting ready to
call tonight.
zonk out.
Everybody
I
in the
appreciate you
chat.
having me on.
Yeah, anytime, man. Like I said, this is just a spur of the moment thing, so appreciate you
Yep.
coming up last minute.
Yeah, no problem. I had that phone call. I'm sorry I had to jump off, but I had to take it. So
All right, everybody in the chat, I appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Those of you that gave me some super chats, thank you very much. It is graciously appreciated, although not needed. So don't ever feel obligated. Take care, Tarek, Gary, CP. Anytime you guys want to come up, just pop on up. So,
All
right, buddy.
Thanks for
All right,
having me,
guys.
bud.
Take care.
See ya.
Come on.